One, two, 1, 2. We in the stew. The interview portion of this segment with the sound spiral. Say what's up, man.
What's up?
Oh, we got Jalen here, general manager.
I'm here. Jalen's here.
Flip yes.
Flip yes.
Flip yeah.
Flip yes.
I don't
On
know
the
if
radio,
that-
so we gotta. Well, we want to be classy. Today is classy music hour.
It is.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you came with the classy vibe with the songs today. I mean, I don't know if that's like, I was probably partially because of the explicit limitations.
Oh
I
no!
feel
You want to?
No, you just had like a classic vibe, like a classic rock. And then, what year were those covers from?
So I'd have to look up Soldier of Fortune. It was off the album, I'm pretty sure it was called Stormbringer, which the title track of that album is also really good. But it was from the 70s at some point. I can say with certainty
Gotcha.
that
I love the 70s.
70s is great. A great decade for rock. A great decade for music in general. But Secular Haze off the 2012 album Infestissimum. So 2012 is when that song came out. So, and you know, it's has such a unique sound that, you know, it's a mixture of various different styles, you know, is what I love about that. I view it more as a composition, because like when you try to play it on guitar, the scales, like they're doing a lot of very interesting stuff with key change and scales in that song, which I really also am drawn to.
Gotcha, yeah, that's fine. Sorry, Jalen, do you see you were on 5 or 6?
I'm on 5. I think I can hear myself.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Coming through.
And then you said you started making music during COVID, right?
Yeah, so like I first got into writing music around the pandemic, right? Or in the year 2020. Although, I mean, I've always really loved music. I've always gotten melodies stuck in my head and just really vibe to them. But I wasn't interested in wanting to perform music until around 8th grade, when I got into like Slipknot, System of a Down, heavy alternative, you know, rock and metal, basically, which are still my two biggest genres today. I got into writing music, though, like being serious about it during the pandemic. Right. Previously, like I tried my hand at drums, but then I started to pick up this old acoustic guitar that my dad had, like a really good one that he found at a flea market. And it's like all stained with graphite now because I'd be writing tabs in pencil and then continuing to strum and like, you know,
Oh, that's sick.
figure out how to like make my own songs. I started to recreate melodies on an old digital keyboard that we had, you know, figure out what notes were what sounds. Started to learn like minor, major scale, all that stuff. But I started Sound Spiral. The project Sound Spiral began in 2022 as a band, actually, right? The songs I'd first written for this project were alternative rock with a little bit of a punk twist, I'd actually say, which is pretty different from what I'm doing now. But the band fell apart, though, because it was really hard for the other members to commit, and we had like one guy who was basically the only other constant member. He had to transfer, so in the end I just gave up, right? And not gave up on making music, but I decided I'm going to continue this as a solo project and just at my father's encouragement, summer 2022, I started learning music making program, Soundtrap. He didn't recommend the program. He said find one and learn it, and it's much easier. And you know what? That's what enabled me to make the instrumentals that I'm singing over now.
Oh, okay. So that's when you really started like producing.
Yeah. I learned like how to control stuff like reverb, bass, treble, with all the different effects and stuff. But yeah, around 2023, I started to compose music that was a bit more electronic and poppy in nature. I kept a lot of my rock influence for a lot of these songs, but it's definitely a departure from the music I originally planned on performing.
And you said you had an album that you're making?
Why, yes,
Putting
indeed. I have an album that I just have to record the vocals for. after that flawless vocal performance I just did, I'm sure you're all.
So.
No, thank you very much. No, I'm gonna be recording the vocals. I'm gonna try to get a couple songs done over spring break, but my goal is to have this album, which I'm not gonna reveal the name. You're gonna have to see when it comes out.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for it. It's gonna come out probably around May. I'm hoping to get it done by the end of the semester and get it on all platforms. Both the songs that I just performed are already released. They're songs that will appear on the album in a remastered form. The versions that I have on Spotify and all the other platforms now are a bit raw, like they're I've been able to fine tune the tracks a bit more, and I'm gonna try to remaster the vocals a little bit as well. But they're on all platforms, or all the major ones like Spotify, iTunes, YouTube Music. I think Pandora, maybe. I'd have to check. Amazon Music has it, So if you're on any of those platforms, feel free to give Sound Spiral a listen. The songs you just heard are all on there.
Yep, Sound Spiral on all platforms. What's the majority of the genres you're working with on the album?
Yeah, this album's really a mixture of a lot of different things. I'd say it's like there are moments that are electronica, moments that are like synth rock, moments that take cues from industrial rock or alternative, or even like some moments on the album that I think are kind of gothic in nature. I have a song that's sounds like The Cure if they used sequencers, like the that type of thing, the synth. A little bit of dance music as well, a little bit of, I guess you could call it lo-fi, but definitely also a pop influence here and there. I was inspired to make something that might have mainstream appeal, but is still kind of avant-garde in some respects.
Yeah, I like the gothic vibe. That's really cool. I feel like I don't see that too often in mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
Which one was the Halloween sort of inspired track that you performed?
Halloween. That is a Secular Haze by Ghost. Again, very, like I said, very creepy, very carnival-esque.
Yeah, that was cool.
Sounds like you're on an awful a carousel ride that you're gonna die at the end of it, like in a horror movie.
Yeah, like a Final Destination roller coaster.
I got into that song right around Halloween 2019, by the way. All the way back when I first became a Ghost fan. They're my favorite band. Don't get me started on Ghost. I love them so much. But yeah, 2019 I got into them. That was one of the first songs that really rocked me by Ghost that I discovered. And I wanted to, I think I'm going to try to write something with that kind of vibe in the future. But for this album, I'm going to sort of keep it a bit more, I guess a bit simpler. I guess you could say influence-wise, there are moments on this record that might mimic Ghost, but other acts you could say inspired this album in particular might be Nine Inch Nails, Muse, Arcade Fire, especially in their use of sequencers on songs like Supersymmetry, I'm pretty sure is what it's called. There's a song by Arcade Fire, pretty good. For the more industrial, rocking moments, I even say maybe a tiny bit of, well, maybe not Rammstein, but Rammstein is also one of my favorite bands. And for the poppy arena rock stomping beats, the anthemic songs, I guess you could say I drew a little bit from Imagine Dragons early on. So
wow. Yeah, they do have a really big sound, really made for stadiums.
So that kind of a selection of artists is what I went with. But like I said, there might also be moments that remind you in a roundabout way of The Cure or Susie and the Banshees, especially on one of the tracks, which I guess you'll see it when it comes out. I don't know if I want to spoil the name of the track, but see if you can find it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
There was a lyric I really liked that stood out to me. There was on the last track, Destiny, which was really cool. It was something like, "There's no blade sharp enough to cut these ties."
Yeah, to sever these ties. Yeah,
Sever these ties. Yep, that was hard.
and that like that metaphor is pretty commonly used, but it's true, and it's also like, I'm pretty sure in Greek mythology, fate is there are three sisters that spin a thread into cloth, right?
Oh, word.
And then I think they unravel it at the end. There are three of them, and in a way, like to cut that thread, means to sever yourself from destiny. But ultimately, to a lot of people, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Some people believe in like total free will, which is also, I think, a bit hard to make an argument for. But that's a matter for the philosophers to sort out, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're getting a call.
We're getting a call.
Phone call?
Are they gonna call in and tell
I
me?
don't think I know how to use the phone. I'm scared of breaking the phone.
They're gonna.
Come on.
They better tell me how much they love me right now.
Hold on, caller. If you don't get to your call, just call back. I don't know how to
Come
use the
with
phone.
So we got a caller. I'm excited. Do you think they're gonna be on the show?
Maybe. I mean, we can have them on air. Yeah, we'll have them.
KSUN radio.
Can we hear them?
Oh, is this Zach?
I know a couple Zachs. Which
Let me
Zach are we
which one?
talking?
Can y'all hear Zach? Zach, can you talk?
I don't think I can hear him.
Try one more.
I can hear him a little now.
Yeah. You can turn it up a little.
Is that better? All right. Zach, can you hear me?
Oh, thank you. It's all good. Thank you. This means a lot regardless.
All right. Zach, you can't hear us? We can hear you, Zach.
Can you hear
if
us,
you're
Zach?
still listening, we hear you. Thank you for calling. You already hung up.
Oh, thank you.
word.
Thank you so much, Zach.
Thank you so much, Zach.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks, Zach. That was super cool. Shout out to Zach.
I think
Do you know Zach, Jay?
Yeah, Zach.
I know Zach.
You know Zach? Zach works here at
I
the school. He works in admissions, I think. He used to be a tour guide. He was a comm student.
Word.
comms.
Zach Gonzalez.
Yeah, I got some friends in the comms department.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
He's
yeah.
an alumni. He works here now. But yeah, thank you, Zach.
I seen that on LinkedIn. Hey, congrats on the career move, Zach.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to Zach.
Yeah, super cool, dude.
Yeah.
Go listen to the El Tremaine show. What is it? Every first Tuesday of the month on KBBF. He's the tech guy there.
Oh, word. Yeah, shout out to that station. I forgot where we were, though. I wanted to ask, though, what's some of your favorite songwriters that you sort of take inspiration from?
God. There are a lot of them. It's so many. I guess you could say, I'm going to try to give a rundown right now. Tobias Forge of Ghost is always an inspiration.
It's a cool name.
On his own. And they are some of the most like complex and ferociously interesting songs from the 2010s in the genre of rock. And the way he toys around with music theory, I could go into the complexities of some Ghost songs. Like, he is really truly an inspiration, and now he's making stuff that's still rockin' but pretty catchy as well. A bit more of a pop influence in newer Ghost, but I don't mind it. I'm looking forward to their new album. Roger Waters of Pink Floyd, I think he's a big concept guy. He makes like some of the best Pink Floyd songs are written by Roger Waters. He wrote a lot of their album The Wall. Or he's a credit hog. Like, because I believe there are multiple lawsuits about Pink Floyd songwriting credits.
Really? Oh, no
But
way.
John Lord of Deep Purple recently, which Deep Purple I discovered like last year. John Lord, he's a Hammond organ player. I believe he was classically trained. Well, he's passed away, right? But the late great John Lord, he composed an entire symphony for Deep Purple to perform with a Philharmonic Orchestra earlier on in their career. So he's very inspirational, even
That's
though
hard.
yeah, I know he's so talented on that thing, on the Hammond organ. That's one thing. Like I love electric organ. I can never get enough electric organ. And there are different kinds, but the Hammond organ especially is such a classic sound. And Ghost uses that sound too a lot, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I noticed. I feel like there's a little bit of organ or like some throughout the songs, or at least it was like in tune with the vibe.
I'd say one artist that I also recently got into thanks to a friend of mine is Hosier, who's like,
oh yeah,
I love what he does. First of all, he has an incredible voice, but I love his like he's got a bit of a blues and soul influence to him, but he can also be like really rockin', you know. And what he does, like I don't know how much of his songs he like writes on his own, but he appears to me a very creative person, and his lyrics can also be quite poetic. So I'd say Hosier is currently one of my probably my favorite, like I guess quote unquote pop artist. Although pop, I'm using it very broadly when I refer to him as a pop artist. I guess you could say like mainstream solo act is what I mean.
I wanted to ask, would you ever want to compose for like an orchestra? Is that like...
You know, the funny thing is I can't read music. I can't read or write music.
You can always learn.
I can always learn. I'd love to. I would definitely like make... I would make music for a film. Hey, look, if anyone's listening and they're making a short film and they want a soundtrack, or making a video game and they want a soundtrack, I'm down. We can talk about it. I'm open to commissions as well. I made a whole EP of beats with my friend that, you know, you could put in some kind of short or video game or what have you. It's called The Early Days. It's out. It's dated 2022. That's when we like produced and composed a lot of the songs, but it came out last year. It came out in 2024. It's just listed as a 2022 release.
Is that released under Sound Spiral?
Yes, it is released under Sound Spiral with my friend Dominic R. Is what I chose as his artist name. Just to give him credit.
Shout out Dominic R. Did you want to say something, Jalen?
I was just gonna say that's really cool. I'll keep that in mind.
No, yeah, I think they're...
My minor is in film, and I also
awesome.
really like video games and video game music, so we'll connect.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's like a wealth of people like in Selena's, in the cinema classes, cinema arts. And also, what was that class we did like short films for? Cinema 302?
Cinema 301 or 302, yeah. And then Talena's also actually teaching Studio Blue this semester.
Shout out to Lena.
Shout out to Studio Blue. I was just in one of their short films.
Oh, is that filmed in here?
It's filmed in Salazar, in the green screen room.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. This is a tangent, but I might want to use the green screen for my senior project.
There you go. Get in the Salazar.
Yeah, I got to. But yeah, there are a bunch of cinema arts majors, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Kind of cool collaboration there. Oh, and then I noticed, like in a lot of the artists that you mentioned and some of the songs you performed, how much would you say world building is like part of your process in creating music, or like your ambitions for projects in the future?
You know, when I was in high school, I'm like, I want to write a concept album. I'm going to tell a story, a single coherent story or incoherent story in an album, right? Now I'm kind of less concept oriented, but I definitely would want to write like either a rock opera or a concept album one day. Right now, all I can really say about the album that I'm working on is that there are some central themes, I guess, that you could say unite most of the songs, but not necessarily like a story to it. Although, I mean, every work of art is the story of the artist, just as much as it. So I guess you could say I'm telling my story, but not like in the sense that like storytelling, world building albums do. If that's what you meant by world building, because world building also, if you're talking about like having a consistent sound, I think there is a common thread that runs through the songs on this album. But the themes generally for this album are like confidence, overcoming adversity or shyness, becoming more independent, going out into the world, seeing what there is, you know, stuff about, like I said, free will, control, lack of control. And I think, yeah, it's what I want to debut with. Who knows what direction I'll take in the future.
Yeah, you never know.
Because the name itself, by the way, I chose the name Sound Spiral not just because of the alliteration, which, you know, 2 S's. I thought, you know, it flows, Sound Spiral. But the thing is, it's also like I envisioned music as starting from something simple, like a certain point. Think of the oldest, most ancient music. Simplest possible things like beating on a rock, you know. It starts there, and then it spirals out from there. You know, like you can't really control where it goes, you know. And let's see where the spiral takes us, you know.
Yeah,
is where I got the idea from for the band name.
It sounds like you're sort of like letting the music guide you more so than like, you know, like trying to force a certain direction or sound.
Some of the best songs, or some of the songs I'm proudest of having written, I sit down and I'm not at all planning to, like, it just takes me in a completely different direction. I have an idea on the spot. I experiment with a different, like, synthesizer, and I think, you know, I come up with a riff on the spot that I think is very entertaining and that I want to build a song out of, or I'm writing a verse, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, without planning it, the chorus hits me, and I think, okay, I got to get this down in the program right now before I forget. Sometimes you just have to let the music take you where it wants to take you.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that. Follow the inspiration. How did you get to perform at WNB on here on campus? What was the backstory there?
Well, it was an open mic night. That's it.
Oh, gotcha.
It was an open mic night. I thought, you know what? Let's go there. Let's have some fun. And I got a couple really nice clips out of it. I put them on my personal Instagram and my Sound Spiral Instagram, which I'm gonna have to plug at the end of the interview here. But
yeah.
I think I also I love open mic nights. Any opportunity I get to go to one, I'll go. Before I started making and releasing music, it was just, you know, to sing songs I really love. But now it's an opportunity to plug my music. So I make sure to never miss one. And yeah.
Have you looked into open mic nights at like different establishments around in the area? I remember there's a bar in Santa Rosa called Brew that does really cool open mic nights.
Yeah. No, I've done karaoke before at like, I forget the name of the bar. It's in Toddy, yeah.
Spankies?
No, that I've been to that one, but no, there was a different one called the Winds, the what?
Yeah,
Trade Winds.
The Trade Winds. There we go. That's where I went. I performed "Sugar" by System of a Down at the Trade Winds.
That's hard.
Yeah, that was a fun song. My voice was like fried by the end of it, but I was surprised that I got my voice as like, I got pretty close to Serge Tankian's voice at certain points during that performance. God, that night was so much fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Were you planning on doing karaoke that night?
Yeah. I went with a friend of mine. But
do you do the crawl like? Oh wait, you go ahead.
yeah, I don't really do the crawl. This was actually on a Friday, and the crawl is on a Thursday, so.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
did you go like to all three bars, or were you just hanging at Trade Winds?
We went to Trade Winds that night, just Trade Winds. I performed another Deep Purple song at an open mic night that I was hosting. I performed "Smoke on the Water," which, you know, if you know that song, it's one of the most basic guitar riffs. It's one of the first riffs you ever learn. So it's like the joke is they'll throw you out of the guitar store for playing that riff. You know, dun 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 dun.
Sure.
Yeah. See, everyone's probably heard it at some point, but it's a great song. I love the singing. Ian Gillan is the name of the vocalist for that band. He's really good. He was originally, like, in the album Jesus Christ Superstar, he was the voice of Jesus. In I think Andrew Lloyd Webber is the guy who made that musical. Like, he chose Ian Gillan to do that. He has an incredible voice. So it's a big shoes to fill. I still had fun doing it though.
Shout out to Ian, man. Well, thanks again for being on the show, man.
Of course.
Joining KSUN.
Thank you so much for. Again, like, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for having me on. It's a huge opportunity, and I think also, like, before we go, because it sounds like we're gonna wrap up, everyone, I'm gonna give you my Instagrams right now.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't, if you're not, if you don't join, my heart will be broken. You will have hurt my feelings officially, and I will never forgive you.
It's very personal.
No, you're good. You're good. No, these are my first one. At ADAMAMJADI at Adam Amjadi, all lowercase. It's my main Instagram, but for Sound Spiral, it's at Sound Spiral Music, but it's SOUND_SPIRAL_MUSIC. So there's an underscore in between each word, all the words, and all the letters are lowercase. But yeah, you can find me on there. Yeah, I would really appreciate it. You can look up Sound Spiral on Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music, all that stuff. See what's out there. You know, I'd really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Y'all heard it here, man. Y'all tap in. Oh, do you have a time frame that you want to say when you want to drop the album?
I'd say around May. Mid-May is probably when I'll drop the album.
Mid-May, awesome, dude. Well,
so keep your eyes peeled, and welcome to the Spiral for those of you who haven't heard of me before. That's my little catchphrase.
I like that. Nice.
All right.
Anything else you want to get off before we get out of here?
No, not really. But thank you so much again. It's been a blast. And thanks for listening.
Hell yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all. Catch y'all next time. Signing out. Peace, everyone.
Peace.
The song that comes on.
All right. So.
That's awesome.
All right. Look at that. Just had an hour and 2 minutes. Nice.
See you guys around. I'm going to be turning this stream off now.